apology just days before facing Ireland in the Six Nations. A video emerged today of Jones referring to the scummy Irish, and he also made derogatory comments about the Welsh at the event, which is sponsored by Mitsubishi. A bit of context to it as well. The man on stage with them that you may see sitting on the couch is Mike Lynch, who was a former member of the British Forces, but born and raised in Dublin. So perhaps some context to it there. The English RFU, they'll say they'll be apologising to the IRFU and the WRU for Jones's comments.
It was just banter.
Stop
Bants. Hashtag
Too precious.
Rugby bans.
Hashtag Bants.
Ruby Walsh's Cheltenham Festival is over. He fell from his Mount Alboom photo on the RSA Novices Chase this afternoon and was taken to hospital for x-rays. It's been confirmed he's aggravated the leg he broke back in November, having only returned last week. Meanwhile, Meath trainer Gordon Elliott dominated today's proceedings with a winning treble. Sam Crowe, an odds-on winner in the Grade 1 Ballymore Novices Chase. Tiger Roll, a 7-1 victor in the cross-country. And Elliott completing his hat-trick with 33-1 chance. Veneer of Charm, an unlikely winner of the penultimate race of the day, the Juvenile Handicap Hurl. The feature race, though, the Queen Mother Champion Chase, was won by the Evans favourite Altior. And while not a sports story as such, has to be noted that the man who brought darts to the world, to the wider world in the 1980s, Mr. Jim Bowen, passing away today at the age of 80.
I said
true great.
Sad news. Sad. I mean, what a show it was. When you look back at it, it's still comical in many ways, but absolutely brilliant show. Brilliant show.
If there's a box set, Richie has it.
No. Yeah. Challenge TV actually do show.
Would you be a bullseye man, Ken?
Yeah. It's a classic family weekend entertainment. So, was it Sunday evening? It was on
Sunday evening.
Yeah.
Brilliant. There was David Hill on Twitter a couple of months ago, just before his death, actually tweeted, and there's brilliant context for Bowen's TV work, saying, "I'm watching Bullseye from 1981, and everyone is unemployed. But when they tell Jim this, he doesn't mock them or chide them. He offers his support and asks how bad it is wherever they're from, like it's a war, which it was, and they're all on the same side."
There we go.
Better tribute than Peter Stringfellows for Stephen Hawking, which was, "Here's my favourite photo of Professor Stephen Harking having dinner with me and my club Stringfellows."
Slightly better than Neymar's, to be fair.
Neymar.
If any, we should find this picture. We'll put it up during the football show. Somebody get this and we'll put it up. It's essentially Neymar in his wheelchair.
He honestly just doesn't get it, does he?
He's a fool.
Yeah.
With his leg outstretched, and obviously he's injured and he's got a sore toe at the moment, essentially comparing his struggle with Stephen Hawking's struggle.
Yeah.
A man suffering from motor neuron for 40 years.
With a metatarsal injury.
Yeah.
There we go.
That's Neymar for you. Alright, time for the football show.
The Football Show on Off the Ball.
Brought to you by the Boylesports app. Cash out and in-play betting available in the App Store and Google Play Store.
I'm prepared to do anything I can to play my country again.
Do it then. What about your start to the game?
It wasn't bad, was it?
Why should an honest answer be a mistake?
How can a modern day manager not have a mobile phone?
Why should he?
Welcome along to Wednesday's football show. So we're concentrating on the Champions League tonight. Chelsea 2-0 down at home away against Barcelona, even 3-1 on aggregate. We'll also be reflecting on Manchester United's defeat against Sevilla last night. 53106 is the text number. @Off the Ball on Twitter. We are live as well right now, Kevin, on all our social platforms.
This is the new one now, is it?
Facebook.com/Off the Ball.
This is big news, honestly.
Periscope, which Kenny is a big fan of.
We just got a goal. We have just got a goal.
100th Champions League goal for Lionel Messi.
Yeah, I personally, I think his first goal is an own goal. That's what I feel. I think it's gone in off Courtois. I think it was actually going wide. But the second one, or this one, is definitely Lionel Messi's goal. It's a brilliant little mazy run. I think he actually puts it through Courtois' leg again. And from a slight angle, Messi's the man. 3-0. That looks game over now.
Another big mistake. Very similar to the second goal. Chelsea giving the ball away in a poor area of the pitch. I think it was Christensen tried to play a ball on the inside into centre midfield. That's generally when you're at your most vulnerable, Kev. You're spread out across the pitch, trying to make the pitch big to get at the Barcelona team. They've given it away and they've just broken quickly, almost like a 3v3 situation.
Was he the best ever, Ken? Messi? Do you think he's the best ever?
It's a conversation for another time. I don't think it's a given no.
Actually goes near post. He actually goes to the near post beyond Courtois.
That's the difference. Like his first goal, Kev, we were talking about on his right foot, wasn't overly confident. It was almost like more of a safety one. But this one on his left, he just...
Oh, it has actually through
the touch to bring him round the defender.
It's brilliant,
like taking the heavier touch to get around the outside.
Yeah, but you're surprised if he doesn't, you know what I mean, show that type of quality. But just goes to show you, Conte talks about, people talk about playing the perfect game, but that's what you have to do. And the two mistakes, real clear mistakes Chelsea have made in terms of surrendering possession in poor areas of the pitch, Barcelona have just kind of picked them off. So that's where you've got to be. You've got to be perfect in all aspects of the game. And it's the goals come at a time when Chelsea had a really good first opening 20 minutes of the second half, grown in confidence. building sustained pressure on the Barcelona penalty box, a lot of desperate defending in and around the Barcelona 18-yard box, and Chelsea looking as if they were still very much in this tie, knowing that the next goal, it's anybody's game really. But
they've made a lot of mistakes like that tonight. They've given the ball away, and they've conceded a lot of chances from giving the ball away in key areas really. And
Conte is going to have been driven demented by this performance, because by and large they play quite well. They've created opportunities, but you say simple mistake. But is that the brilliance of Barcelona? They force you into these simple mistakes.
I don't think they forced into the mistakes. I don't think Fabregas was forced to give him that ball away. He just needed better quality to see the Messi approach and work his feet a little bit quicker. And likewise, Christensen wasn't being pressed there, Nathan. It'd be different maybe if Barcelona were putting a high press on. That's the difference between this Barcelona team for me and the great Barcelona team 5-10 years ago. They don't press as effectively as they did previously. So in possession of the football, they don't
understand. There's not as much legs in the side door.
For the right reasons. You're right. Yeah. That is part of in terms of how they shape up as well. More of a kind of 4-4-2. And Kev's right in terms of the energy levels in Iniesta in particular. Like Rakitic, not great athletes. These players, Messi's a little bit half-hearted as well in terms of his closing down. So if you're good enough, to work the ball 1-2 touch, good enough technicians, you will get at this Barcelona team, but just can't make those defensive errors.
I just looked at Victor Moses. Actually, is attracted here. I think he might be even thinking that Lionel Messi is going to take the strike on, and he just checks to his left hand side. He's in behind Azpilicueta, and that frees up Messi's angle. That Messi then, once he gets the ball beyond Azpilicueta, the chance is on for him. So yeah, it's a great goal.
Both Busquets and Iniesta are off the pitch. Iniesta, we know, struggled with injury for the last few weeks. Busquets was pointing towards his knee. So maybe while Barcelona right now are looking in sensational form and have been in La Liga this season, they're probably still, in terms of crucial players like Iniesta, Busquets, they can't afford those sort of injuries if they want to win the Champions League.
I don't know. I wouldn't stretch it that far. Busquets for me isn't absolutely essential. No.
Is Busquets not the man who makes all this tick?
Yeah, he's the man who makes it tick, but he's the man who doesn't get across the pitch and make enough tackles when he hasn't got the ball, and he's the man who hasn't got the legs to get across the pitch when he gets exposed. If you think back to the Manchester City game at the Etihad some years ago when Manchester City turned them over, he was hopelessly exposed.
First leg.
Anytime he gets stressed and isolated in that area of the pitch, he's banging trouble. So yeah, in terms of his technical ability as a playmaker, absolutely as good as there is. But can you get at him? Does he give that defensive shield to the defensive unit behind him at times? No, he doesn't. So no, I certainly wouldn't put him up in the category of Messi. Clearly, Messi for me is absolutely head and shoulders. I know he always has been. Even Iniesta for me, not playing at the level that he did some years ago. And generally just gets through 60-65 minutes and influences the game now in spasms and periods of the game. Whereas before he'd actually run a game for virtually for 90 minutes. Him and Xavi just kind of passing that baton. Nowadays he kind of imposes himself for maybe 5-10 minute phases, Kev. Then he kind of disappears and kind of goes again a little bit. You know what I mean? So that's probably the reason why they're not kind of dominating, maybe not quite as impressive as they were for the reasons that we're saying, and that's what I'll give other teams comfort.
Maybe just off the back of what Kenny's saying there, we spoke of the record and what they've done. I think, what was it, September 2016 since they've last been beaten the Nou Camp. So any team going there, of course, we know will find it difficult. But in general, I just don't see this Barcelona side winning it. I don't see them having the real quality of one or two of the other sides. I think City will beat Barcelona. I genuinely do. I think Liverpool could overrun Barcelona as well. Defensively, that's the worry.
Looking at the amount of chances, even the Chelsea, an out of form, a low in confidence Chelsea been able to create tonight.
I think I think those two Premier League sides that's left in this, I think they could beat Barcelona. I think it's not as daunting as a task as it would have been in years gone by to beat them. I think there's a real chance there.
Very briefly, Kenny, and maybe this will be a topic for the next time you're good enough to join us in studio. You say it's not a given that Messi is the greatest of all time?
No, not for me. No,
top three?
Oh yeah, top three. Yeah, I just throw up. I've been asked this question before. But Maradona for me, I always throw him up there. Just because of the area that he played and the challenges which he'd faced in terms of how the game was played back then, how it was refereed, what was acceptable in terms of the physicality and what he had to deal with.
Quality of pitches.
Yeah, quality of pitches as well. The players he had around him, the environment he played in, the team which he played and coming into Napoli when he did, and the effect that he had there, as opposed to maybe Messi coming into the team at Barcelona with the likes of Iniesta and Xavi around them, players actually coming into their prime. He played with them at those players at their very best. Now that's not obviously talking down Messi's contribution, absolutely world class, amongst the world's best of all time, yes, but I don't see him being head and shoulders certainly above Maradona. I was a huge Maradona fan.
So suddenly from the Premier League having 5 of 16, they're only going to have 2 of 8, just Liverpool and Manchester City left. I don't want to get into that sort of tedious debate about what it says of the quality of the Premier League.
I mean, realistically, I feel as though I thought last night going into that game for Man United, I thought it was a big chance. I didn't see, and Sevilla, they're not a great side at all. And whoever gets Sevilla in the next round, I think will beat them, whichever side it is. Even Roma, I think, will put Sevilla out. So I didn't see that being a real intimidating game for them last night. Kenny mentioned earlier on, once he saw the side, you're looking at it going, where's the real, who's going to inject pace into the game with crisp passing and get United going forward? Because that's what it needed last night. He needed a strong performance from United on the front foot, playing with real energy, getting the crowd behind them, and it just didn't come about last night. And so that is why I think they allowed Sevilla to get through. And overall, I think this is always going to be a difficult one. I think
the English teams are on the up though, Kev. I know it's an easy argument to make now. With the overrated now, just 2 going through. But I think if you look at
Tottenham as well, 170 minutes probably, 160 minutes probably dominated that game, and
even Chelsea over 2 legs. You know what I mean? There has been a huge chasm between those 2 teams, Barcelona and Chelsea. If we're expecting that,
4-1 in aggregate's very harsh on Chelsea, considering how well they played.
That's what I'm saying. That's what you have to look at. You have to look at it, get a little bit deeper rather than just look at the aggregate score and say, oh, they were hopeless over the 2 legs. Look, 3-0. You look at that score last night, thinking, oh, it's been a stroke for Barcelona. It's been anything but. You know what I mean? So I've been overall impressed with the contribution of the English teams. Manchester United, a big exception last night. That was poor.
That was dreadful.
Dog poor last night.
I just want to say as well, Jose Mourinho after the game, we spoke earlier on about what he was saying as well. He said, I don't think the performance was bad. I don't have any regrets. I did my best. The players did their best. We tried. We lost. But that is football. I listened to his comments. I got into. I was on with you obviously directly after the game, and then I listened to a few of his comments, maybe radio-wise, over the course of today, and I was like, I don't think there's any harm in Mourinho coming out and just saying, look, that was a bad performance tonight. We didn't get the crowd behind us. Just tell it like it is in many respects. You know, I think in general, I didn't see any reason for him not saying that. I don't now he's come out and I think he looks foolish with what he was saying post match.
Yeah, and it doesn't mean that he had to be overly critical of it. He didn't have to come out and start landing punches on his players individually, hanging people out to dry. But he could have said, look, weren't quite at it there tonight. Just the intensity levels weren't quite there. We didn't know.
So what does that suggest then? Does that suggest that maybe there's a dynamic in the dressing room?
And also he added to that as well. Sorry, Nate. He said, I think the intention and the way we started was very good and positive. I just didn't see that intention from him.
About 2 minutes. You know, they got into the last third, they put a ball into the box. Lukaku almost got on the end of something early on, but that was almost the first 5 minutes of the game. Yeah. And very quickly, Sevilla wrestled the initiative and really controlled the game. The game very rarely changed between them and the end of the match. So maybe if he comes out and says those things, though, Nathan, I say maybe come out and say that. Maybe then the natural question is, well, why wasn't that cohesion there? Why wasn't that intensity there? Isn't ultimately that the manager's responsible in terms of preparing his players tactically, even psychologically, you could say, in terms of the mindset that they're right going onto the pitch. They're just like a cold spring, ready to go. That's kind of what the good managers do. Now, obviously, there's players' responsibility there as well, but by admitting those things, maybe Mourinho avoids a little bit more of criticism or questions about himself in terms of tactically how he prepared the team, and maybe he doesn't want to answer those questions. He feels as if, well, you can't ask. I'm Jose Mourinho, a bit like Frank de Boer when he made it off the cuff. Yeah, not an overly critical comment for me when you actually look at the detail in terms of what he said. But Mourinho didn't like it, reacted to it straight away, and put him back in his box. So he clearly doesn't. He doesn't like to hear it.
Say that, players' responsibility. Yes, it is there, Nathan. I totally get that. But you could see the way that he did line them up. Kenny spoke there about they got him behind in the first couple of minutes, but immediately after that spell, 2 minutes, the 2 fullbacks continuously tucked in alongside the 2 centre halves, Matic and Fellaini deep. There was no intention, there was no real instruction from Matic or Fellaini or even the 2 fullbacks to be squeezing the 2 men ahead of them to go and squeeze onto.
What was he fearful of?
I mean, he must have been fearful of the fact is it was a 0-0. We heard the talk around it being a difficult scoreline. You can see the goal. You have to go and get 2. He didn't want to be maybe too open and expansive early on. But I felt, personally, Ken, I felt there was a chance for United to get that crowd. There was an expectancy going to that game last night to get the crowd right up for it. And again, I spoke about the fact is Sevilla are not a good side. They've been conceding goals recently, and I think
not a single point from a game against the top 4 in Spain.
But either way, Nathan, he got it wrong. If you wanted Manchester United to get on the front foot, control the ball and dictate play, then you play Pogba in that central area of the pitch. His defensive deficiencies, you suck them up and you get him on the pitch, because you know if his qualities in possession of football, he can be the driving force behind Manchester United. So that's the decision that you make before the game, if you want to take a more positive approach and dominate the game. If you don't, and you want to take more of a defensive approach, you want to sit a little bit deep, you want to stay compact, you want to soak up pressure, absorb pressure and look maybe to counter-attack, you still don't play that team. You play McTominay alongside Matic, as he did against Liverpool, and you nail it down, you make yourself solid, you get people behind the ball, and that allows you to have the players on the pitch who can soak up that amount of pressure. So whichever way you play for me, you don't play Marion Fellaini in centre midfield if you want to do either of those things. So that was the big. I'm still scratching my head on that one. I'd love to sit down, Marina, and say, look, what picture in your head did you have when you put Fellaini in the centre of that pitch?
Do you think that could have been the fact is he didn't want to answer any more questions on Pogba? Pogba was never going to play. So if he played McTominay ahead of him then in that big game again, is he getting asked more questions on Pogba? I don't think so,
because I think it was easy from Kev off the back of the Liverpool result when Matic and McTominay, they hadn't put in that performance against Liverpool. Then you might say he's leaving himself
open. He's just coming back from injury.
Pogba's not fit though, is he, for that game at the weekend? No. So that's his get out of the weekend.
But that's what I'm saying. So now the argument becomes, you're going to midfield too. McTominay goes in there, his athleticism, his legs, his discipline. We've seen it already in the particularly the last couple of weeks. He's shown real maturity to his play in terms of his positional sense as well. Doesn't get himself isolated. He recovers well, keeps things simple. Not the most creative player, he's not an addicted player, he's not a playmaker of sorts. But if you're going to go in with that defensive mindset, he's the one you play alongside Matic in that central area of the pitch, and he didn't do it.
There's a couple of more and plenty of interesting talking points from last night we want to get to. We have Kevin Kilban and Kenny Cunningham with us in studio. 53106 is the text number. Two of the crown princess of punditry in Ireland. Let's hear from the king, Graham Souness.
No imagination, resorted to just lumping it to a big centre forward, looking for second bits off him. Fellaini's on the pitch, that tells you which way they want to go, thinking he gets something at set piece. It's Manchester United we're talking about. It's Manchester United, the biggest club in the world, arguably. Play football like that ain't good enough. If you were to look at the players that on paper, you think there's some good players in there, but from Sanchez to Pogba, who's really playing to their full potential? So that has to come down to the manager. The manager's not getting the best out of the group, and that's your job. A manager's first job is to if you walk into a football club, you inherit a group of players, get the most out of that group. When you've been there a few years and you're spending lots of money, same thing applies. It's not happening for United right now.
Last night on TV3, right, he mentions Manchester United being one of the biggest clubs in the world. You can throw statistics about how many goals they've scored this season, the amount of 4-0, 3-0 victories they've had. But no honest Manchester United fan can look at them this season and think they've got anywhere near the quality of football Liverpool have played at times, that Tottenham have played at times, that Manchester City have played at times. For all the money they've gone and spent, should they not be expecting more?
No. This is open for argument for me in terms of the type of football. I mean, good football. We hear that, great football. That's lovely football to watch. What's lovely? What's your perception of lovely football? We've had this argument before. What's your perception of lovely football?
Liverpool 4, Manchester City 3.
No, the style of football I'm talking about. Because I'll tell you, for an example, for me, if you ask me what's the type of goal in terms of really gets me on the edge of my seat, I've got a picture straight away in my head. I'm thinking of a full-back getting the ball off a centre half, 10-15 yards inside his own half, hitting a centre forward early, long, accurate balls, picking up a second ball, quickly distributing the ball into a wide area, cross into the box, players arriving. Now that some people would tag that as the direct stroke Neanderthal type football.
He's a man after my own heart though, Kenny.
But you're bypassing the midfield there. There's not too many clever intricate passes in the centre. But no, there isn't. I want to see the ball get from back to front quickly. Maybe similar to what they did the weekend against Liverpool. Target the weaknesses of the opposition, exploit it, hit Lukaku early, but do it early, do it accurately, get people up support, pick up second balls, anticipate things quickly, get the balls into the danger areas quickly, and be adventurous once you get up there. Commit players into the box. If it comes out, gets it out, win the second ball, sustain pressure, get shots on target, cross the ball in again, and suffocate teams. Now that for me is high energy football. It doesn't have to be 6, 7, 8, 10, 12 consecutive passes passed across the pitch backwards and slowly navigate your way up the pitch. Some people would enjoy that, want to see that. I don't. That personally turns me off a little bit. But that doesn't excite me. I'm telling you the type of football, what I consider good football. And at times I've seen it from...
like Arsenal play at times when they move it slowly, they don't necessarily go and penetrate sides.
Yeah, this great Barcelona team we spoke about 5-10 years ago. I couldn't watch them at times, Tory. I'd have to switch. No, I'm telling you. I couldn't watch that. I've appreciated the technical level that they're playing at, but in terms of entertainment, absolutely,
I can't be having that one as well, because I think
no, I'm telling you.
They played with massive energy. They went and closed down out of position. That was largely down to teams dropping off, and they were finding it difficult then to get in behind them at times. So I'd feel as though you can't. I couldn't.
Sorry, you used a word there. Maybe this is the key to the whole argument. Regardless of whether you like it the way you like watching football, where you go a bit more direct, or whether you play a Barcelona, old-fashioned as it is this age, almost tiki-taka style, you try and drag defences out. Energy is the key.
Yeah.
That it needs to be quick, it needs to be fast.
Energy, intensity. These are, regardless of what style of football, tactically how you set your teams up, these are the common denominators. And that's, if you haven't got that, you know, forget about tactics, you know what I mean? It doesn't really come into it. They're the basic fundamentals that you need before you even start expanding it out into maybe your tactical play in terms of formations.
So does that all then for United come from the midfield? Do you not get the best out of your attacking four when things are slow, because it gives defenders time to react? Is Alexis Sanchez at his very best if it's 100 miles an hour, if his little touches, the skill he has helps him get there?
Yeah, but it's got to be coordinated. I mean, centre midfield's huge for me in terms. You've got a weakness in the central area of the pitch. You're at a disadvantage in and particularly out possession of the football. But I think equally, Nathan, applies all over the pitch. Like Liverpool, when they go and press, they don't carry any passengers, whether it's Mane, Firmino, whoever it is, Salah up that end of the pitch. They go, they press with intensity. Not only that, they're clever. The angle of approach is right. They're showing players into the exact areas of pitches where they want. The second press, like the second wave behind that, Chan, Henderson, wherever they come at the right times, the timing's right, so they move collectively up and down the pitch. So that's the type of thing that I'm talking about. So the performance of Manchester United, it was so disjointed. You know, it was low energy, it was passive. You just can't do it. You can't play the game for me at any level, really. It's not as if Manchester United have the players of such a technical ability that when they win the ball back, they'll keep it for 10 minutes. You know, they can't even do that. When Pogba's not on the pitch, they haven't got players who can keep and dictate and control possession. Matic can't do it. He's tidy enough and efficient in terms of how he recycles the football, but he's not the one to do it. McTominay, to be fair, I'm a big fan of him. I'm really impressed how well he's played, but at the moment he's certainly that type of player. Herrera isn't. He's a two-choice player. Just get it and give it simple. So they can't, for me, Manchester United at the moment have to play that type of game. High energy, direct, back to front, because all of the Manchester United weapons that I see, they're high up the pitch now. They got combination high up the pitch, whoever you want to put up there. That's Manchester United's strength. Even with Sanchez in the team, he's not playing well at the moment. You got to get the ball into the last third of the pitch as quickly and as often as possible.
A lot of texts coming in. There's 9 minutes left, by the way, in the Camp Nou. It's Barcelona 3, Chelsea 0. Eden Hazard has just been replaced by Pedro, who's getting a warm round of applause from his former club. Dennis in Ratmines has texted in: is Sanchez the worst signing in Manchester United history?
I think it's harsh that when you.
They did need him. They did need him. It's as simple as that. It was the best decision in terms of Manchester City going in there. Manchester United coming in and pinching them off Manchester City. Blessing the skies for me. Now it's in hindsight, but I felt it at the time. No way Manchester City needed that type of player. If him coming to Manchester City meant less game time for Sané and the left side of midfield, that can't be the right decision, because that lad is developing into an absolute world-class talent. So for me, Sanchez's presence would have actually stunted his growth potentially. Plus the fact, the kind of personality that you're bringing into the football club in terms of the dynamic within the changing room, that type of sullen personality, always taking a gamble when you bring that type of player into a dressing room. For me, the wages that he's on, for me, potentially is still going to be a problem going down the road at United. You're going to have problems with the Gay in the summer, Pogba's agent banging on that door, demanding equity, or to extent with Sanchez. So some people say that's a good deal. It's only cost them 30-40 million wages, whatever. That's going to cost them considerably more than that, because of the wage packages they're going to have to give another half a dozen players whose contracts are coming up. It's huge, and they didn't need to. I don't think United needed to bring Sanchez in for those reasons. With the quality of Rashford and Martial operating off the left, Marina might point to the fact maybe Rashford's performance had dropped off. I'm not quite buying into that, to be honest with you.
It's the same with, man, like you touch on Sané, and I don't want to say his performance has dropped off, but different So
Sterling's
had his
spells,
he's had
yeah.
different Manchester City players have stepped up at different times of the season. At a young age, particularly at Rashford's age, it's probably not going to be a full 38 game experience where he's one of the best players. But you play him through it. You don't leave him sitting on the bench for 3 months.
No, I think your point, and the kids need to know that they're going to get that. They're going to get that kind of that backing from manager. That if they do have one game, not going to come straight out of the team. Psychologically, that can be difficult to deal with. That kind of builds pressure in your own mind when you're on the pitch. That if I give this another ball away, I've had a bad 10-15 minutes. I'm coming off. I'm not going to be playing Saturday. You need to know the manager's behind you. You're going to get a run the games in terms of development. Absolutely.
When he'd been going through,
he stuck with him. So that's what I don't understand. I was never convinced of the Sanchez. I thought it worked well for Manchester City. I didn't think Manchester City need him, and I think Manchester United, to be honest, are they a better squad with him in it, playing at his best? Yeah, of course he is. We know the talent that he is. But
he's 29.
For me, it was a play they just didn't need. They are crying out for a central midfield player, if not two, of real. That's the fundamental problem.
But that is the club that United are becoming though now. United are becoming this Real Madrid type club from 10 or 15 years ago, where it's all about the signing, and let's disclose how much money we're actually paying this player. Let's disclose how much money we're going to go and pay for a player.
Even with Graham Souness there, that line of they're meant to be the biggest club in the world, it's almost as if that's become an obsession.
Well, that's what they're showing. Yeah, that's what they're trying to show, aren't they? They're trying to show everyone, look, we are the biggest. We can afford to pay those wages. We can compete with Real Madrid.
It was always that bit of PR spin you felt in Sanchez.
Totally
we've got one over on Manchester. Forget about the footballing argument. We've pinched from Manchester City. It's a statement of intent. The fact that we were
the best players still want to go to United above City.
Yeah, but fundamentally, it's got about how the player impacts the team on the pitch. That's got to drive absolutely everything. Forget about the marketing, social media profile, the whole thing. What you can earn potentially off the player. That's the argument, which is kind of that's the noise around Pogba at the moment in terms of the marketing there. The football club saying, look, we can't. If this lad has to be a success here. I mean, the amount of publicity this kid is generating. This is the type of player that we want to bring, that we can earn. We can actually earn books off. But Pogba's getting to the stage of the football club where I almost feel Mourinho's got to make a big decision on Pogba. He's got to absolutely commit himself to the player going forward from the summer on, or he's probably got to take one of the biggest decisions of his career and get him out. Get him out, and he's going to get his money back and build a team again from that central midfield area. Get to absolute, not workhorses, but a player of a totally different ilk to Pogba, who you can drop into that central area. We can talk about the like of Kante players like that, the likes of Wanyama, players like this, that real kind of physical presence, box to box, like machines from an athletic point of view. And these are players who can play as well and get on the ball and keep it tidy, but just build from there absolutely rock solid base in that central midfield area. And that might be a decision that's coming down the line for Mourinho in terms of Pogba. He's got to get the best out of him, and he's got to get the best system. And for me, the best system is Pogba in a 3, in a midfield 3, and we've got to see more of it. And he's got to commit to it, because if he doesn't, this is going to keep resurfacing and coming to the ball.
It's going to be a really interesting summer. We've a text in from Carmel and Nay saying, do you think Mourinho will end up at Paris Saint-Germain in the summer, or will performances like last night put Paris Saint-Germain off? Like, there's probably going to be question marks about Mourinho after this as well, and the impact that he's made in Europe with United. But there's so many parts of that team you wonder who's going to stay, who's going to go. What happens with Anthony Martial?
Yeah.
Who are the players they go after? Is Victor Wanyama, again, is that the problem with the biggest club in the world tag? Is Victor Wanyama is that an attractive proposition for United?
Well, Kenny's touching on something.
Profile doesn't. I don't care about profile. He hasn't got this. It's all about.
You don't, but Ed Woodward does.
Yeah, but he shouldn't do. That's my whole point. That's my whole. It's got to be the football and the football and qualities that he's in the individual player. Because if you get it right on the pitch, everything else, that ripple effect from that, success will come, trophies will come, and they'll generate their income off the back of that. It's all got to. What's got to drive the whole thing in terms of player acquisition? It always has, and it always will have to be. It's about the individual football and qualities of that player that you're bringing in. Forget about profile, how big a personality, how popular he is, how much noise there is around them. It's got to be about those football and qualities. That's what absolutely drives everything.
Man of the people, Kev here. I'd like to say thanks to Kevin Kilban, who took the time to pose for a picture in Manchester Airport yesterday on the way to the game. A true gent. From the two Toms on the way back from the airport.
Good lads. Do you
remember that? How many photos?
He's all hungover. What's the story?
No,
what's the backstory there?
This was on the way to the game.
On the way to Manchester yesterday. On the way to Manchester. No, there wasn't too many photographs yesterday at all.
Okay,
nice to be nice, Kev. Nice to be nice.
That's all right. There's 2 minutes left at the Camp Nou. It's Barcelona 3, Chelsea 0. So Barcelona will take the final place in Friday's quarter-final draw. We're going to talk about tonight's game and a little bit about Manchester United as well with Clinton Morrison next.
Football on Off the Ball.
Brought to you by the Boylesports app. Cash out and in-play betting available in the App Store and Google Play Store.
News Talk Breakfast.
I think the argument people will be saying is, yeah, but this is the thin end of the wedge. It's 80 cent a lift now. Next year it'll be €1. The year after that it'll be 160 and so on. That it will steadily increase.
So I'm quite happy today to say on the radio that this is it. We are not going to increase this charge. This is a subsidy to help us continue recycling, to continue to do the right thing. And I'm happy to say here and now that this charge will not be increased.
For how long?
We can give a commitment for quite a number of years on this. 5 years, for instance.
News Talk Breakfast. Weekday mornings at 7.
In association with AIR.
Hear the full News Talk Breakfast podcast at newstalk.com and on the News Talk app.
Follow the sun as it slowly sinks behind Kinsale Harbour before resting your gaze on the boats coming in, where the only distraction is the scent of fresh mussels as you sit back to let the moment linger. Let go and embrace the Wild Atlantic way of life. Plan your holiday now on the Wild Atlantic Way.
There's only one thing more exciting than a brand new season at Tato Park. And that's the special offer of €20 entry plus unlimited attractions at Tato Park. Ireland's only theme park and zoo reopens on March 18th with all your favourite attractions plus a few new ones. Bring the family, go with friends and enjoy €20 entry plus unlimited attractions on March 18th and 19th only. Terms and conditions apply. See tatopark.ie.
Gary, I came as quick as I could. What's the matter, Larry? Every day this week, the Irish Sun have only gone and got a Cheltenham Festival pull-out and a free €5 match bet with Ladbrokes from Tuesday.
You all sitting around?
Nay!
We better trot on and get a copy.
Pick up the Irish Sun for €1 and get everything you need for Cheltenham. Please gamble responsibly.
I'll give you 5,500 for it.
5,500? Really? Maybe you didn't see the scratch on the door. I'll just sidle over and stand right in front of it. Natural as you like.
Sir, are you okay? Of course I'm okay. Why wouldn't I be okay? So, where do I sign?
Lots of people can't believe it, but Nissan are offering up to €5,500 scrappage when you buy a new 181 Nissan. Talk to your local Nissan dealer today or visit scrappageguarantee.ie and see how much your old car is worth. Terms and conditions apply. Nissan. Innovation that excites.
When that niggling pain builds into something that makes it difficult to even think straight, try new Salpa Extra. With its dual-action formula of paracetamol and caffeine, it treats pain fast. Because it's soluble, Salpa Extra gets to work 2 times faster than standard paracetamol tablets, based on absorption data. For pain, think new Salpa Extra. Acts fast so you can get back to life. Ask your pharmacist for advice. Salpa Extra soluble tablets for the treatment of mild to moderate pain. Always read the leaflet.
The Punchestown Festival. It's more than a one-horse town. It's top-class championship racing where overseas rivals take on the hometown heroes. Where stylish and elegant uptown girls enjoy a great day out with the men about town. It's live entertainment in gorgeous new bars and restaurants. It's where champions go. The Punchestown Festival. Tuesday 24th to Saturday 28th of April. Tickets from €30. Visit punchestown.com.
Short back and sides, is it?
Yeah, it's my credit reunion today. I need to look my best.
Oh, don't worry. The credit union welcomes all members back to chat about their great range of loans for cars, holidays, home improvements.
You're a barber, right?
Hold still there for me.
Just the bare blade, is it?
Get a flexible loan from a lender who cares. Have you had your credit reunion? Credit union. We look at things differently. Loans are subject to approval. Terms and conditions apply. If you do not meet the repayments on your loan, your account will go into arrears. This may affect your credit rating, which may limit your ability to access credit in the future. Credit unions in the Republic of Ireland are regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
Off the Ball. This is News Talk.
Welcome back to the football show and Off the Ball. It is Nathan, Kev and Kenny in studio. Clinton Morrison is on the line. Hi, Clinton.
All right, good evening.
Who was a more enjoyable roommate, Kev or Kenny?
That's a tough. That's
yeah.
Clint,
you can't answer that one. Don't listen to it, Clint.
I'll tell you what.
I know, Kev. I know you and Kev had a bit of a loving going in the Irish team.
There's 2 men I've got huge respect for, so I can't choose that because they're 2 good. If it was anyone else, I could choose it, but not them 2. So I say they're both the same, both as good as each other.
You've sat in the fence there, Clinton. That's not what we got you on for.
Weak.
That's not what we paid the big bucks, Clint, to get you on.
What do you want me to say?
We want you to dish the dirt on Kenny.
You want me to dish the dirt with Kenny? I didn't room with Kenny that much as I roomed with Kev, so it was totally different.
Was that a Birmingham?
That wasn't a coincidence, by the way. I never roomed with Clint.
Yeah, so there you go, because Kenny was the one who said he didn't want to room with me. I'm going to go for Kev. He's made up my mind for me.
Who did you room with, Kenny?
I had a couple. I was passed around a bit.
When you passed around, you know full well that you want to get rid of Kenny.
No, I looked at it the opposite way, Nathan. You know what I mean? Just spread a bit of love around the place.
Bring joy to everybody.
Duffers, the last one. Duffers was the last one I roomed with.
I bet that was a good room. That you two in the room, you and Duffer, cool.
Yeah, but Duffers, Clint Duffers was big on his power naps like mid-afternoon.
That's what I mean.
There's a reason.
He was a lethal sleeper, wasn't he?
Yeah, but I was probably at that age. I probably needed it, to be fair. Early 30s. Now I needed me hour and a half mid-afternoon.
Did anyone ever tell you to shut up?
No.
Just when they're trying to have his nap.
Where's that come from?
Trying to have his nap. I'm just saying, maybe he's like piped down from it. We had
a lot of good talkers in that squad. You got one on the end of the line here.
Yeah. Clinton, you were watching Barcelona 3, Chelsea 0. Not as one-sided as the scoreline suggests?
No, not really. I think second half, Chelsea had a right good go at them, but I just think the difference, and everyone will say, is the little genius Messi. I do think the way Chelsea have started the game, after 2 minutes, it's a lucky goal, but Courtois, the goalie's got to do better, because I think defensively they're set up. The ball gets cut back from Messi. There's no Barcelona striker going in on it. I think they're set up, but that's the only place he can put the ball in. It's poor goalkeeping. It's gone through his legs. I know the second one, Messi's goal's gone through his legs, but I think that's a much better finish. But Chelsea were their own downfall. I think they give the ball away in silly areas. The second goal, Fabregas is dwelling on the ball, and he should know better that Barcelona do press. And when you give and Christensen is a young boy, but he dived in on Messi. But it is difficult, because when Messi's going at that speed, he does pick the right pass, and I think the pass was brilliant. I think Suarez makes a really good run and creates the space, and Dembele comes in, and it's a great finish. But Chelsea had a goal, but I think the difference is if Chelsea had Messi in the final third, I thought it might have been a different game, but they had a good goal. At least they didn't park the bus like they did at Man City a few weeks ago.
Clint, there was a key moment, sorry Kev, I jumped in the second half when Giroud got himself goal side of the Barcelona defenders. PK's got a piece of his short. The argument in the...
Was it Giroud or was it Alonso?
It was Alonso.
Oh, Alonso.
It was Alonso, yeah, it was Alonso. There you go, I knew it. Yeah,
Excuse me, the argument in the studio was should he have stayed on his feet, Giroud, or should he take the contact and go down? What about yourself? You'd have found yourself in that situation.
No, you stay on your feet, Ken. I think he should have stayed on his feet. It wasn't enough contact. It was a little bit on the arm, but I don't think there was enough contact to go down. Just have your shot and argue about it after, because if you get your shot away, it could find that it's gone in the back of the net. So, it was Alonso. He was in the wrong position, I think. I think if it's the centre forward, maybe Giroud does try to get his shot away. So it was the big turning point in the game, I think, because if Chelsea had got the goal then, it would have given them a big lift, and maybe they could have gone on and scored another one.
Clint, you weren't the most graceful of divers, so you probably would have been better staying on your feet. You definitely wouldn't kid the referee to give him a penalty.
I don't taker either, so I'm definitely getting my shot away.
Clint, you touched on something there. You touched on Fabregas giving the ball away. Kenny was excited actually when Fabregas gave it away out of studio earlier on. No, it's not. It isn't true. That isn't true. No, but Kenny did touch on something, perhaps saying that he perhaps didn't have the energy to play at this level. Perhaps they might get overrun. Kante can't necessarily do everything from a midfield base. Was there anything different that you feel Chelsea could have done, or have you felt as though that is a sort of performance that they needed tonight going up against Barcelona?
I think they could have done better. I think Kante's second half actually did this. Kenny's right. Fabregas is a wonderful player, but when Barcelona do that high press, I don't think he can. He's not like the same Harry was years ago, where he can move around a bit quicker and stuff like that. He's always been good on the ball. So if he's got no time on the ball, then he won't be able to get on it and make things happen. And I think Kante's second half, I thought he was brilliant. I think he covered every inch of blade on that grass. I thought he was superb and tried to drive the team forward. I thought William was really good on the ball. But what annoys me with Conte is you're going for a goal, and he seems to just stick with the back three and the back five. And just be bold and try and go to a back four, but I just don't think that's his way. That's how he's always known, playing three at the back, and I don't think he's going to change. But I think maybe not taking off Giroud, trying to go with Morata up. There's a lot of things you can do here, but I still think the decisive thing is when you've got Messi in your team, what do? You don't see him sometimes in games for 15, 20 minutes, and then that decisive moment, he goes and he turns the game on his head with a great finish. Just when I thought Chelsea might get that crucial goal.
Clint, who would you have started up front, Giroud or Morata?
No, I would have started Giroud, Ken, just because I just think they need a target man, and I think it would have been better because he holds the ball up a bit better, even though he didn't do it brilliantly tonight, but he did it good in bits and pieces. I just think, and it gives Hazard and William that space in behind them where they can come onto the ball and pick up their little pockets. So I would have started Giroud. I just think Morata's not got a lot of confidence at the minute, but in the same breath, he could probably have turned PK in behind a bit more, who I don't think as quick as he used to be. So it was probably a hard call.
Kenny,
not much between the two players.
Is the frustration for Chelsea supporters, and maybe for Antonio Conte as well, that when you look at the areas that were weak in tonight, they actually had those players in Matic and Costa who could have made a huge difference. The two areas of weakness, the place alongside Kante midfield and up front, they had two players who were so crucial to them winning the league, and they let them go.
Yeah, definitely. I find that's why he seems a frustrated figure. Today he looked like his old Conte, but recently he hasn't looked like the same one. And these are probably because of these players. Falling out with Costa, probably the biggest mistake. But it's difficult as a manager. Once the centre forward, who's been brilliant for Chelsea, don't get me wrong, but Kenny probably would have hated playing against someone like that because he's a terrific striker. But he's probably a bit of a nuisance to manage, and it's probably difficult. And if he's overruling you, I don't know what's gone on there at Chelsea, but losing Costa, I think, is a massive blow to Chelsea. I don't think they've never replaced him.
Do you know what, Clint? I spoke about it even last season when it looked as though his time was coming to an end. And the one thing, if I was Man United, I would have gone all out to try to get him instead of Lukaku. I think and I know Lukaku's goal scoring record is speaks for itself, I suppose, this season. But I think Costa brings something to a game, even if he's not scoring goals. I think he brings 100%. Life to the side, and I think that loss of Costa for Chelsea, I think that's the one that I think they regret more than anything, because I think he's a key player.
Yeah, but I think there's a backstory there with Costa in terms of like how he behaved, how he carried himself around the club. I think clearly he was actively trying to get himself out when the move to China surfaced. You know what I mean? So no, I wouldn't be overly critical of the club in that respect. That type of player can be very difficult to manage, and it's difficult from the outside looking in, Clinton, in terms of what kind of effect. He's the type of player who could maybe even split a dressing room, and a good manager, you have to balance up those things, the player's individual qualities, and also most importantly the dynamic, his personality within the dressing room. So that was a tough call for me. I wouldn't be overly critical of Conte about that.
There's, and even before this game, almost an air of inevitability that Conte is going to leave the club at the end of the season. John Giles was on last week, and it was Jamie Redknapp who said the performance against Manchester City was a crime against football. John was making the point that the crime here is the way that Conte has been treated by the club owners. Matic being allowed leave to go to one of their main rivals, and bringing in players like Danny Drinkwater or Bakayoko
but it's too easy now. It's too easy to criticise that Bakayoko signing. Clint, you would have seen Bakayoko play at Monaco prior to when he came to Stamford Bridge. Now, when Chelsea made that signing, there wasn't too many supporters, or generally neutral football supporters, look at that and thinking, oh, that's a backward step signing this kid. There was logic in that. That was good money for Matic. I know he's a top class player, but you were spending the money on a player considerably younger and who had the potential to develop and even become a better all round player than Matic. Now, that was the kind of logic, that was the reason, the footballing reason why he was brought to the football club. Easy now in hindsight to look back. He's having a bit of a difficult time, Bakayoko, and say, oh, it was ridiculous signing. What were they doing? They shot themselves in the foot. But I still think potentially that signing could come good. Also with Morata centre forward, I wouldn't be giving up on Morata either. I think it's a better all round game than Giroud, and I still potentially he can score a lot of goals at Chelsea. So I think too easy at times to criticise, in particular those two signings that you've mentioned. But yeah, in terms of a Conte, I think the writing's pretty much on the wall. There's no coming back.
Clinton, we might just talk about Manchester United as well, and your thoughts on on the performance last night. Go on.
It was shambolic. I was watching it. Just think, I don't get it. From that performance against Liverpool to that performance last night, there was not. I hate to use that word, desire or hungerness, to go and win the ball or win a game of football, but that's what it looked like. There was no tempo. Then you bring on Paul Pogba, and more interested in showing his next dance move instead of being an influence on the pitch. And I've always defended him, but after last night, I think he struggled massively coming on to try and make an impact. Alexis Sanchez, I think Rashford, this is what frustrates me. Against Liverpool, Rashford plays on the left. He's unplayable. He has a great game. He's a young kid. Then in the Champions League a few days later, you go and play him on the right to accommodate and play Sanchez on the left. It just don't sit well with me. And I know you've got to adapt as a footballer, but I think you play the young kid in his best position and let him do things. At the moment, I don't think it's working out for Sanchez. I thought it was a poor performance. I think bringing back Fellaini, I know the young boy McTominay's done well, but why bring Fellaini in? I don't get it. He hasn't kicked a ball for 2 or 3 months in Man United's first team. So there was a lot of strange decisions. I think the only one who can put their hand up a bit and say they had a right goal was probably Lukaku. And he wasn't much quality, but he got his goal, and I thought he was a threat. When the ball went up to him, he held it quite well.
That's why you didn't share a room, because you would have agreed on everything, Kenny.
So do you agree, Kenny, that you think Fellaini should have played, or you think Sanchez was good last night?
No, we've covered this ground now. I agree with you, Clint. Fellaini for me was the big decision, which was jumping off, and I saw the team sheet. You know, it's that central area of the pitch. You're playing a player, for me, like we've mentioned before, he's one pace, Clint, not the most athletic, not the most defensively minded. He's not particularly a ball player either. He's the type of player, Clint, you would have wanted playing alongside up front as a striking partner. He's the type of player you would have wanted to be feeding off. He's a number 10, Fellaini, almost playing off the front, hitting him direct and picking up second balls off him. Not playing in the central midfield, looking deep to get on the ball and instigate attacks.
Clint, I just want to get a quick one before we let you go here now. Just on, we've got the Turkey game coming up now. We've got a lot of inexperienced players that's been called into the squad, particularly maybe around the striker's role. Scott Hogan, of course, and Sean Maguire. I know you've seen a bit of these players, so how do you think they're developing at the moment? How do you think it's going, and how do you think they'll develop into international footballers?
It's difficult, Kevin. It's difficult because not everyone can adjust to international football like I did. No, I'm only joking. It's very hard to score in your debut, against the Croatian team. But no, I'm only joking.
You're not lying.
All jokes aside, I think Hogan's done well recently at Aston Villa. He's found his goal-scoring form. But the one who excites me is Maguire. I've watched a lot of the Championship games this season, and obviously I know he had a big injury, but he's come back. But he just looks so sharp. He's not the quickest, but his movement is really good. Listen, a lot of people, they shouldn't, but they might compare his movement to Robbie Keane. Listen, it's not nowhere near Robbie, but because Robbie was an exceptional striker. But this kid has got really good movement, and he knows where the goal is. One-on-one situations, he looks like he's going to finish it.
Clint,
and you know what's good about him?
Can he play as a line? Can he play as a lone striker? Can he play off the sides? Does he need someone alongside him ideally?
I'm not sure if he can play the lone striker because he's a small guy, and maybe back to goal. I've not seen enough of him how he can play back to goal, but I like how he drops into little pockets and makes good runs in behind. And he's always in the box, Ken. That's what you want your centre forward to be, in the 6-yard box. Not too many strikers now want to come out of the box, link the play, and admire their pass and not get into the box. He's always in the box on the move, and some of his goals recently have been proper poacher's goals, which I like. So hopefully, as I said earlier, hopefully the two boys can have international careers like me, and they'll be all right.
You should have taken a bit more of your own advice and spent a bit more time independent, but you're too unselfish running the channels.
Yeah, you're right.
You were doing Kev's job for him on the left wing. You should have been in the box letting Kev get on with it.
The difference is, Ken, I had Noel Quinn, Damien Dove and Robbie Keane ahead of me, so I had to do stuff. It's a bit different nowadays, isn't it, mate?
You'd have 130 caps in this era, I think, Clinton.
No more goals.
I knew you were going to say that, Ken.
Clinton, great stuff. Thanks a lot for taking the call.
No worries. Thanks for having me.
Cheers, Clinton. Take a quick break.
Football on Off the Ball.
Brought to you by the Boylesports app. Cash out and in-play betting available in the App Store and Google Play Store.
Whatever stage you're at in life, deciding to switch your mortgage can feel like making the move all over again. Well, it doesn't have to. Not with Ulster Bank's amazing low mortgage rates, which you can benefit from whether you're a new or existing customer. There's never been a better time to make the move to Ulster Bank, because amazing low mortgage rates really are help for what matters. Search Ulster Bank Amazing Rates and talk to us today about making the switch. Ulster Bank. Help for what matters. Maximum loan to value is 90%. Varies by buyer type. Lending criteria, terms and conditions apply. Security and insurance required. Product fees may apply. Warning, if you do not keep up payments, you may lose your home. Warning, if you do not meet the repayments on your loan, your account will go into arrears. This may affect your credit rating, which may limit your ability to access credit in the future. Ulster Bank Ireland DAC is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
What's the smart way to fly stateside this summer? Aer Lingus lets you choose your own America with our biggest ever range of destinations. Fly non-stop to sunny Miami, touch down in historic Philadelphia from the 25th of March, or go straight to scenic Seattle from the 18th of May. Right now, fares are from just €159 each way as part of a return trip. And with US immigration pre-clearance before you fly, you can speed straight downtown. Smart sees more of North America. Smart flies Aer Lingus. Book now at airlingus.com. Offer subject to conditions and availability.
And welcome to today's racing at Cheltenham, and they're off. The Irish Mirror, today's favourite, is already out in front, but each and every day there's interviews with riders on the inside, followed by views from traders, and coming through is our resident tipster, alongside live information on the day as they come into the final.
Get into Cheltenham. Get into the Irish Mirror. In print and online at irishmirror.ie.
Ready to kick off a double Grand Slam weekend? Because there's a second Grand Slam at Kildare Village with an extra 20% off participating brands, standing shoulder to shoulder. That's on top of already reduced prices. It's the bonus point. To get that extra 20% off, sign up online at kildarevillage.com. That's a win in anybody's book. The double Grand Slam weekend and extra 20% off only at Kildare Village, where there's something extraordinary every day.
The rules to register at .ie are changing from March 21st. Get your available domains before anyone else can, and protect your brand online with letshost.ie.
Get active at Outdoor Revolution, Ireland's biggest sports, adventure, health and wellness event. Join leading sports stars and experts: Sean Kelly, Stuart Lancaster, David Gillick, Niamh Briggs, Stephen Hunt, Roz Purcell and many more. March 24th and 25th at the RDS Dublin. Enjoy free classes, workshops, cooking demos and expert discussion. 10% of Outdoor Revolution ticket sales go to Pieta House. Book yours now at outdoorrevolution.ie.
Hello, I'm Anthony Lanigan. 4 years ago, the pain in my back and shin started to affect my business. I've tried various treatments that didn't solve the problem. Then I went to Foot Solutions. They fitted me with customised arch supports. Since that day, I haven't had a single problem with my back or shins. I work every day and I'm back playing hurling. When I consider the relief I feel after visiting Foot Solutions, I think it was fantastic value for money.
Visit Foot Solutions in Dublin, Cork, Waterford, Limerick, Galway and Newbridge, or visit footsolutions.ie.
Off the ball. This is News Talk.
Chelsea are out of the Champions League, beaten 3-0 by Barcelona tonight. Give us a Messi stat, Kev.
Yeah, Messi stat. Of course, 100th Champions League goal tonight. He's done it in 123 Champions League appearances, 14 games fewer than it took Cristiano Ronaldo, and actually 266 fewer shots than it took Cristiano Ronaldo.
That's sort of insight you don't get anywhere else.
There you go.
Earlier we asked you to name this mystery voice.
I can't explain it. It's unexplainable.
Who is it, Kenny?
Scalzi.
It is Paul Scholes. The winner of tonight's prize, with thanks to our friends at Outdoor Revolution, is Shane Moran from Charlestown in County Mayo. Me and Kev had no involvement in selecting the winner. Sometimes Mayo people just get lucky. OTB AM will be back in the morning, 7:45 AM, looking ahead to Cheltenham, looking back on tonight's game. Kev, you're going to be there tomorrow. You got a tip?
Tomorrow, no, I don't have.
Keep out of Guinness then.
No, I don't. You've thrown me there. You've thrown me there.
Kenny.
Bet on the grey. Bet on the grey.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, Kenny. You didn't eat one donut, which is quite insulting. Kev went out in the pissing rain to get that for you, but it's fine. Come in again soon. Thanks a lot. Tom Dunn's up next. Good night.
Yeah, that body language is not looking good there, is it? Yeah, it is.
From Dunny?
No, Rich won't even look at him.
Yeah.
Look. And Eamon,
he's almost smirking.
He put his hand across him there.
Richie.